panel of speakers, the expert among the experts. You'll hear from them. I'll run through very quickly some of the slides that can provide us the flow of the presentation and the question and answer later on. So, believe you can, just like what Ford said, believe you can or you cannot, either way you're right. Right? So that's creating your own American story. And these are the franchisees who are immigrants who came here to achieve their American dream, which any of us, any of you would like to learn from today. And then we had the One Heart franchise opportunity. Let's talk about franchising and then the startup. Franchising is a proven business model that empowers individuals, to own and scale their business, leveraging the established brand, system, and the support of the successful company, mitigating risk, accelerating growth, and the most important is creating a long-term wealth. So it's still considered as one of the most efficient and marketing and distribution system in the world, just like the McDonald's. Now it's one. So reasons to franchise, couple of things: the independence of small business, higher success rate than startup independent businesses, easier to secure financing. Some of the franchise can secure financing 60 to 70% of the total investment here in USA. Accelerate business growth and reduce chances of business failure. Also, get strong support. Many of these you'll hear from our panel of speakers. So I'll run this through very quickly. And no business experience required. Some of our franchisee doesn't have any sales experience and no business experience. Also, higher rate of success than startup business. I've known some home care owners before that are not anymore operating right now. So we have a widespread brand recognition. If you go over the whole California, you'll see the billboards of the One Heart franchise. Easier to secure finance. So these are for the benefits of the senior care franchise: reduce investment risk, short ramp-up time. Two of our franchisees are multi-unit franchise owners. There's a growing demand. There's about 10,000 Americans turning 79 years old every single day. Minimum brick and mortar. And here's what you get in a business format franchise. You get to get the brand. Our market is brand driven. If I'm going to take a look at your bags, your shoes, your shirts, it's all branded. It connotes quality. If it's service with us, it connotes dependability, reliability. So brand is still important. An operating system, you don't run a business, you run a system. You have to have the system, and if you have a business, you have to have a system and staffing, recruitment, sales, and the ongoing support. Krystal here is one of our best support team that provides support to all the franchisees. For the life of the franchise, you'll be able to get all the support. This is just to run through some of these things. You can see this is our website: proven business model, initial and ongoing training, 5-day business academy training, startup support, brand recognition, bulk financing, and ongoing. So the senior care, if you are in search of a business, you need to take a look at an industry that's attractive. Is it a multi-billion-dollar industry? Second, is it sustainable? And the third and the fourth, is it recession-proof or COVID-resistant business? So the long-term care market is definitely one of the largest industry. 130 billion for the home care business, and the others are. So there's going to be an E2 investor visa that will be discussed. So the time to act is now. Let's make it the boss and create a better quality of life for the elderly population. You don't need to, that's the E2 visa benefits and considerations. I don't want to take up Leia's expertise, so she'll think about this. So you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. So let's jump into the panel of speakers and for your question and answer.
Thank you, Sir Randolph, Clarito. Okay, so let's begin the exploration of the foundational differences between the two business models, between franchising and startup. There's no one-size-fits-all type of model, so we would love to hear from everyone's real-life experiences. So actually, for Sir Randy, I do have a question. What are the key questions an inspiring entrepreneur should ask themselves when deciding between launching a startup or buying a franchise?
You can always, as long as you have a system, a proven system, you can run your own business. But others would like to multiply fast or would need a quick ramp up time. So it's hard to be a business by yourself. So I've been a business owner myself, so president of the company, and then when you encounter some challenges and problems, you can't go to anybody anymore. It's on you. Now the franchising business is you're in business for yourself, but never by yourself. DJ Armin can call one head office and be able to get the expertise and support of all the other teams, and that's something that they can also take advantage of the brand. Between having a Randolph hamburger competing with McDonald's, so we will have a harder chance to be able to grow our own. My wife was handling a business, an independent restaurant in Makati, and we were doing good until such time that McDonald's was there, Jollibee was there, and then Chowking. I said, "Do you still want to fight?" So it's so hard when there's already a brand that you're competing with, and especially in the home care. If you are not a healthcare professional, no medical background, you can magnify on the experience of the franchisor, which have 100 years of combined healthcare and leadership experience. So that's something that you can always choose.
Thank you, Randy. For TJ and Armin, I do have a question. What are the biggest advantages and challenges you've personally experienced in starting a franchise versus building a startup from scratch?
Just echoing what Randy said, brand cachet is very important, especially when I started, or in my experience or lack thereof. I don't have any experience in the franchising or in the in-home care industry per se. So it's very important for me to research about the brand itself, what they do, what they contribute to the community, especially in this kind of business that networking and contribution to the community, senior community at this case, is very important. So researching about a very well-established brand is crucial to at least my decision of going with a franchise rather than doing it on my own. Again, it's to be transparent and to be very honest, it's a double-edged sword. The challenge is not everything is perfect. If one of the network did something undesirable, it will echo throughout the whole network. So that's one of the challenges. So it's like Sir Randy is saying, it's up to us to build our own brand in our own particular territories to make sure that also echoes to other franchises.
Yes. Hi everyone. We all know about proven system that most of the franchisees and franchisors they offer, and we also know about we all know about the potential in senior care industry. But what I wanted to say is something different. I think with One Heart, one of the unique strengths that kind of made this company apart from others is its founder, Belina, who is also a recent immigrant, and she went through all that by herself. So she built everything from scratch. And knowing someone who went through something that you are now going through, who can understand that and who can share the experiences with you would really help you on those earliest stages. And I think that was one of the biggest advantages of working with One Heart, in my personal opinion. Regarding challenges, I would say There are a lot of limitations, of course, working with all franchisors, and that was a little bit challenge for me since I never had any experience working with any franchisor, and I was in a different field before, but then definitely that was a little bit of challenging, which slowly helped me to kind of understand the system, and it turned to a good outcome, even having those limitations. So other than that, I think other things is very known for everybody, like what a franchisor can do.
Cool. Okay. And I'm just so curious too, like because particularly with the senior home care, I feel like you have to be very strict, and you have to have a game plan and all of that. But with that said, if you're someone who values creativity and control, do you feel from your experiences that a startup would be a better fit, or do you feel like there's room for innovation in franchising?
Certainly, room to look for more opportunities is, I think, something a franchisee needs to always look into that. I mean, of course, having the brand, the support, the system, and the good location is super important. But then for sure, for earlier stages, it will help a lot. But then as a franchisee, you probably need to always look for opportunities. And in my case, it worked very well, and I'm very pleased to be part of One Heart family. But yes, for sure, I will. If I go back to 2022 when I made this decision, I will still go ahead and do the same thing. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Sure.
And kind of coming back to immigration, many future business owners, especially immigrants, are unsure on how to navigate the legal or visa side of entrepreneurship. So for Leah, for aspiring immigrant entrepreneurs, what are the key legal or visa-related considerations that they should know before choosing to open a business or invest in a franchise?
Thank you, Krystal, and good afternoon, everyone. For immigration purposes, for business visas, there are actually two generic visas. One is the E2 visa, which is the regular investor's visa. This visa allows foreign national to come to the United States and pursue a business, an enterprise, either to buy, to acquire, or to salvage a business. On the other hand, there's another business visa, which is called an L1 visa. This is an intercompany transferee, meaning there is a company out there in the foreign country that sends out or transfer its executive managers, presidents, CEOs, and owners to the United States and to open a new business or to, again, engage in a new enterprise. So the first thing that I ever asked every immigrant who would come to the office and would inquire about, how do I get a business visa, or how do I exactly run a business or operate a business in the United States, the first thing is that, what is your long-term goal? So if they tell me that, well, eventually I wanted to have a green card or citizenship, or just some people would answer also, well, I just wanted to penetrate the mainstream and just do business, but I still wanted to have my own business in the Philippines or in Vietnam or in anywhere in the world, or in Mexico or Canada. So if they answered me that, depending on their long-term goal, that's the time that I would suggest that maybe you have to get this kind of visa. So there are two main differences on that. And so, as to answer your question as to the principal or legal consideration, is that for E2 visa, for those who would want to get an E2 visa, there's two categories there. One is that, are you a person who has an investment money that could commit fully the funds to the enterprise in the United States? Second is that, do you have the leadership skills that you will be able to run or operate the business in the US? It might be a different environment. It could be the same business that you had in the Philippines, but running a business in the United States is so different. So whether or not you can run it or you have the money to invest on a long-term basis. Those are the two basic legal considerations for that.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so, you know, we work in the senior care industry. We see how successful it is on our end. Are there any specific franchise brands or industries that are more immigrant friendly based on visa compatibility, training, or support in your experience?
Krystal, your question is so leading. That's a leading question, Your Honor. I'm just kidding. I think she wanted me to answer One Heart franchise. No, basically, on a more generic term, I would on our end, and I have here one of the lawyers that I work with, Attorney Carl Ponferrada. So he's here. I guess he would agree to me that having or buying a franchise is the easiest one for us. Why? It's because it's just like what Armin and TJ said, it's a business in a box. So everything is there. We don't have to manufacture, we don't have to find other things that, get it from here and there. It's just there exactly. I never had any difficulty processing or documenting all the required documents by USCIS in terms of having a franchise, just especially for One Heart franchise. Now, I'm not saying that you cannot come up with your own company. You can. It's a startup company. In fact, we just had approval recently, a Filipina who has dry cleaning services, right? And we had even as a home care or a boarding care, we had just recent approvals for that. That's an E2. So it doesn't mean that we're pushing franchise, but it's just that, number one, just like what Randy said, the brand itself would speak for it. So if the USCIS right now, USCIS is very, very familiar with One Heart franchise, with One Heart Caregiving Services franchise. Now, question is the brand going to be something that's recognizable by the USCIS? Every single time, even if I go to the malls or in the hospitals, I would see, or even I would drive every day, I would see One Heart. I'm telling everyone, they're following me, right? Even in the mall, right? So that's how good of a franchise it is. It's easier for us, it's easier for USCIS, but that doesn't mean you cannot come up with your own business. There are also businesses that are good for a startup, something that you have a passion or something that you would love to start on here in the new environment, you can do it.
Awesome, beautiful, thank you. So let's talk about support, growth, and real-world outcomes. There's theories, there's a theory, and then there's what's actually happening when you invest your time and money. So this is actually open to all panelists. Can you share a success story or even a cautionary tale of someone who chose the franchise or startup route and what you have learned from it?
I'll answer for that. Yeah. So since on the legal practice that we have, we've come across with two scenarios, wherein one is a One Heart franchise, right? And the other one is a boarding care, right? Almost the same. So we have this client from Texas, and she had actually met Randy and discussed about One Heart. So for some reasons, I have no idea, maybe it's about the financing side, she chose to have a boarding care. Okay, maybe or because there were some people out there in Texas advised her that it's cheaper to get into a boarding care. You're not going to be able to just shell out that much enough money and all the royalties and all this who are undergoing right now, the whole 9 yards. So somebody actually probably advised her something like that. And for us, and for me, what happened is that with One Heart, we can get you an approval in 5 days, right? But with this lady, with the RCFE or the boarding care, I'll tell you, there were 2 RFEs or 2 requests for evidence for that. That probably because it's a startup. It's something that's not franchisable. It's something that's small. And for all the things that she she presented is not enough for USCIS. So to answer again, Krystal, your question is that something that a business that has a system would work better? I guess based on the experiences for that, and the turnaround on the approved visas that we have, I think I'll choose something that's easier, which is the franchise. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Maybe I can share something from franchise. No? Yes. Okay, so basically, my personal experience with One Heart, and I have to add that you need to work hard, you need to look for opportunities, and I know that things will happen once you follow the system, but in my personal experience, when I started with One Heart, in January 2023, I followed the model very well, but I kind of didn't limit myself only to the training that was provided to me through Randy and others, and I was always looking for more opportunities. So I was able to even exceed 1 million revenue within the first year. And it was in January 2024, then I said to myself, hey, come on, you know, just maybe you can expand. And I just decided to actually purchase my second territory, and that's where I again managed to, I think, reach 1 million for the second one, and I think jointly both territories are doing very well. It worked very well in my case, and I came with 0% healthcare and senior care knowledge, 0%. And I came from the UK, and I had zero knowledge about US employment system. I was kind of confused. What are they talking about? Federal, state, why two? I mean, it's one country, and then about rules, regulations. So things were so new to me, but then of course, we went through that together, and it worked very well. So that's my real example, I would say.
That's awesome. Thank
And
you.
yeah, no problem.
TJ?
Yeah, just to fortify what Armin said, I think I have to thank Mr. Larry here because I think I am the first franchisee that was approved by E2 visa back in 2018. And what Armin says that I am also not from a healthcare industry background. I know nothing. This was my last straw. In fact, before learning about this, in 2 months' time, all our bags are packed and really leaving for good. So I just trusted what One Heart is. I believe the mission and the brand that wanted to accomplish at that time, it was not as big as it is right now, but I believed in where it could be, and I told Randy at that time that, you know, if I will stay with this boat whenever, you know, every forever. So I think that then, you know, everybody followed, including Armin, and it was just it just solidified the brand itself. In doing a franchise, it's better than at starting your own, I guess, because again, it's a business in a box, but there's a lot of growth inside the community. I call it community itself. It's not like, okay, this is it, follow this. It's more of a throughout the years that I'm with the company, it's more of collaboration rather than telling us what to do. It's more of a collaboration. Okay, I think this is what I wanted to do in my territory, and they listen, and we devised a plan on how to make things better, then implement it to other territories, and it got better, and it just blow up from there. And I think it's a good blueprint of where, like me, who doesn't know what is doing, but with the franchise model, at least there's a roadmap on where you wanted to achieve. You know, they're not going to go with you and hold your hand all the way, but at least there's something there's a guideline. There's something like that. So
There's a good framework.
yes,
So-
exactly. So yeah. So
Yes.
I'd like to add about the system. When you are running a business, you need to have a system that will be capable to adapt to the changing market. The 2000 home care business was different 2007, 2008, when I got started with One Heart, and there's a lot of changes. So you need to have the ability to adapt to the changing market. And you only do that when you do your SWOT analysis and also the pest analysis. That's what the franchisor is doing, the political, economic, social, technology, and then the local market that TJ is saying. So if you are able to know that, it's just like an iOS. It's iOS 16 now. It started with iOS 11. So the system gets enhanced with the information given to us by the franchisees, and we collaborate and we grow together and rise together to a newer vision every year. So we grow because of this, and I'd like to thank the franchisees for being open and giving to us the market information, and that's something that we can grow together. And I guess we're the first Filipino-American senior care franchise competing in the market. And for that, we're very proud to be Filipino-Americans. And our franchisees are immigrants as well from UK, Canada, Philippines, and some are Mexico. Thank you.
Awesome. That's really beautiful. What are the top 2 or 3 steps you recommend for someone ready to launch a business in the U.S.? Like, who wants to make a smart strategic move? Like, what are the top 2 things that you think?
Okay, I think just start your research first before you relocate, and that's what I did back in 2022 before I relocated. I think it was in August 2022. So start searching, do your research, make sure that your character aligns with what you are going to do. And I know that most of Asian, I would say, nations and people from Asia, as well as we from Middle East, mainly I'm Persian, but I was in the UK, but we do have that. And we were always kind of observing our mothers and fathers were taking care of elderlies, and we do have that, and we were witness of it since we were little one. But then we just need to make sure that that's there for sure, and you need to make sure that your character aligns with it. That's for sure, number 1. Number 2, talk to the franchisor, and not only that, talk to the existing franchisees, and that's what I did. I did call, I think, TJ, Kamran, and some other franchisees before even I went into the agreement with One Heart Caregiver Services. So definitely that's something that needs to be done. And of course, then the third thing would be just to follow the system, work hard, and the result will follow. That's for sure.
I wanted to add something. Exactly what Armin says is exactly what everybody does until the very end. But I wanted to add something in before your number 1. I think the most important thing in coming from someone who already talked to multiple potential franchises that wanted to, and do this, you wanted to make sure first that you want to do this. Not your wife, not your friends, you yourself, you wanted to do this. Because if there's a snippet of doubt that you wanted to do this, your research will be compromised. But if you really wanted to do this, then you will fully understand what are you researching. It will fully absorb everything that what are you researching because you wanted to do this. So, but everything else is exactly what Armin says. You talk to the franchisor, you talk to the franchisee, ask the right questions. Don't ask about the glory, because the glory will come. Because this is a very good business, so the glory will come. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Ask about the struggle. You know, that's the only thing that you're gonna ask. Ask about the car because the glory will always come. Then whatever Armin says, that's exactly, always trust the system. That's the reason why there's a system, because it's there to guide you. And if it's step 1 to 10, and if you do step 1, 3, 7, then you complain like, hey, it's not working for me. Well, you already know why, you know? So, but if you follow it religiously, you're gonna be okay.
I love it. Thank you, gentlemen. Last question of the day. So you guys are obviously successful, used the franchise, followed it, did everything correct, became very successful. Before we close, if you could redesign one part of the traditional franchise model for today's generation of entrepreneurs, what would you change? Hard question, sorry guys.
Tough question, very tough. But I think a franchisor should be, I mean, it's open conversation, right? So I think, I think a franchisor, including One Heart, should be more open to modifications and changing as needed, as things are actually changing, right? You know, you wake up today and you see Mr. President comes up with something new and things can change tomorrow, and like in many industries are kind of things not going well. So we need to be ready for changing. I mean, if we had an agreement in place 10 years ago, and then if today things are not like the same as 10 years ago, I think being more flexible to make changes as needed, I think that would be a great thing that all franchisors, including One Heart, should definitely keep in mind. But other than that, I think
A fairly positive experience.
everything is kind of positive. And even though I don't like the limitations, the territory limitations, no, I'm not worried. There's no limitations. I mean, I have full support through One Heart, but when I do talk about limitations, it's more about the zip codes and here you go. I mean, I never had this experience. That's why that's something which I am now adopting very well and is working well. And I think the result is even better because then I am providing better service within that neighborhood, and I'm focusing more on my referral sources within that neighborhood. So the result is good, but I mean, it's something that it was a little bit hard for me to get on with at the very beginning. But that's also now turned to a very positive thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. PJ? Leila?
Okay. How do I say it without being
Open, honest conversation.
yeah, open conversation. Okay, so my issue is more of a when you know, when you're already at the not the pinnacle, but the at the you're already in a matured level, so you kind of see already from afar. But I don't. It's maybe let's just talk about that internally. But one thing that I can share is that the territorial structure is limiting. I don't want to say flawed. Thank you. I'm going to say flawed, but it's limiting because again, if you're a franchisee in a certain territory, you already know that it's only a matter of time before you, I don't want to say squeeze everything that's in there, or you're ready to move on. But it takes X amount of time. So by that time that you do that, all other territories around you is already sold and you're kind of boxed in. There's no more room to grow. So if I would change something, I would not reserve, but at least keep it open for that potential territory owner to expand right next to, you know, what they have. I know this for a fact because all my franchisees are far apart from each other, because that's exactly what my problem is. I got boxed in and I wanted to grow more, so I have to travel 300 miles away to get more franchises. So maybe there's a solution with that that can be discussed, but I guess everything is up in there. So.
Thank you, TJ.
There is.
For on my side, I have like two things that I'd like to voice out to both the franchisees and the franchisor, right? I have another franchisor here, Maricar. She is actually the CEO of Crow and Spice Restaurant, and it's also for franchise as well. Hi, thank you. And then, so I guess I'll reference it to the franchisees first. If there's something that, and I've been communicating this to all of the clients and the franchisees as well, who became actually my friends after I got them all approved, is that number one is that to maintain that kind of mindset that TJ and Armin has. See, these two guys here, you know, they were given such an opportunity to grow the business, and they're so fired up. So for every franchisee, because they believe that they only have to grow their own franchise, they limit themselves into owning multiple locations or growing more. I hear TJ on his sentiments that he would wanted to expand his business, but however, some zip codes surrounding him was already taken or being given to another client. So I hear him that. Also with the franchise, for the franchisor itself, I guess to continue or enhance the training, right, Sir Randy? The training side wherein at the moment that they acquire the franchisees, they would have to put in the minds of the franchisees that this is not only the location that you're going to have. You have to expand more. So now the name of the game is how many franchises you're going to have. I guess that's how true business owner really wants. You are no longer an entrepreneur, but you should be a multipreneur. Thank you.
Yeah, lovely. Thank
Shortly,
you.
because we have expanded fast, so many of those existing right now have adjacent territories that already have another franchisee. So there are 50 states that we have in the U.S., so we will be able to do some, TJ's right, some thinking about what best to do. But the beauty of the One Heart franchise is we can all agree to disagree without being disagreeable. So that's, I guess, the culture that we have, because they're open to us and we're also open to them about how we can still grow, because we have one vision for One Heart brand, and how to achieve it is something that we can work together all the time. So I'm happy that they're doing very well, multi-unit franchise owners. We have franchise brokers here, Mark Shi for the Chinese group, and Butch also. Mark will be going to Taipei, Taiwan. We'll have 20 franchisees for One Heart. So we may be joining them. Hand me there. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to open the floor to any questions, if we have any. Any questions for our panelists? Okay. Oh, from the gentleman in the back.
Hi, I'm Butch Bartolome from the Philippines. I'm a GMB franchise developer, 34 years. one of the things I'd like to share with you is getting a right franchisee. You know, because it's a very critical thing for me. It's a business relationship, but getting to know more beyond the business is very important. No? And it's not just the money, because the growth is actually going to be exponential. But again, as what TJ was saying, getting boxed in, I think the role of the franchisor is to offer the franchisee options for growth rather than be limited. Because I share with you, TJ, that you're boxed in and you have to drive